All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. We talk about all things fandom on this channel, and we talk about it in a positive way. If that's something that appeals to you, you've come to the right place. We're so happy to have you here, and today happens to be Sci-Fi Sunday. Now, today we're going to talk about something a little bit different, because by now you've heard the rumors that Henry Cavill could be returning to the DCU. There's a whole issue there. We're going to break down what exactly was said and why people are suddenly saying this again. And then we're going to take a look at 5 people he could play should he come back to the DCU. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so we have to talk a little bit about Henry Cavill, because by now you've heard that James Gunn actually said what I've been saying all along. He has confirmed that it was not him who fired Henry Cavill, and therefore he had a talk with Henry Cavill. Now, this is officially what was said. In an interview with James Gunn, he shed some light on the actor's potential return into DC. And this is what he was saying on Josh Horowitz's Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. James Gunn admitted it was terrible to be the one to have to tell the news to Cavill that he would no longer play Superman, while also speaking out about the timeline of events leading up to that moment. Horowitz said, "I was somewhat in the middle of this in a weird way, because I talked to Henry Cavill in the middle when Black Adam is coming out." James Gunn says, "Oh, good God, yeah?" To which Horowitz said, "And we love Henry, of course. The sweetest guy." Gunn confirms, yes, he's the sweetest guy. And Horowitz says, "And he has that cameo at the end. We had a big moment on stage where he thought he was coming back. We all thought he was coming back. Maybe unbeknownst to him or not. You're already writing the Superman movie, which is clearly different. A younger actor soon after. You get the gig as the head of DCU, correct? I had this roughly right." And James Gunn says, "Yeah, that's right. That's correct." So then Horowitz says, "So then at a certain point, you and Peter Safran have that unfortunate phone call with him." And Gunn said, "No, we sat down with him. We sat down with Henry." Now, I want to stop right there, because this is something that I've been saying to you guys for a long, long time. James Gunn announced this back when he took over. He said that he sat down with each and every one of the actors. They had lunch with these actors, one-on-one kind of thing. I don't know if it was lunch, but they actually spoke to these actors one-on-one. And I've been telling you guys this for a long time. This is why Jason Momoa walked out of there really excited and really happy, because he already knew what his future looked like. And he knew what he was going to end up doing. He just couldn't say anything for a long time. Now, Horowitz said, "So without revealing too much, I mean, what is it like to have to be the guy to tell Superman, 'Thank you for your time, but we have to go in a different way'?" And Gunn said, "It's terrible. So we're trying to figure out if we could take the job at DC Studios. And we're talking to David Zaslav and all the legal people there and finding out what our deals would be." And the day our deal is closed, all of a sudden, they were announcing Henry was back. And I'm like, what is going on? We know what the plan is like. The plan was to come in and do Superman. So it was really unfair to him, and it was a total bummer. Gunn also spoke out about the timing of Cavill's return being unfortunate, because he was an absolute gentleman. And when he and co-CEO Peter Safran had to tell him the sad news. Gunn says about this, "There was a vacuum at the time. And a lot of people were, I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible. They wanted to take on what they wanted to do with DC. And they were trying to force their way. And it just was never a part of the equation for David Zaslav, who was the head of WBD. So yeah, we came in, and that was really unfortunate. I'm like, this poor guy. And so Peter and I The right thing to do was to sit down with him and talk to him. We sat down, we talked to him. He was an absolute gentleman, a great guy about it. He said the only thing I asked was that I'm able to reveal it myself, as opposed to it coming from you guys. So that's a big thing right there. That's what he said about the whole situation. Horowitz inquired, would it be too confusing to cast him in your DC universe going forward? And Gunn said, as another character, absolutely not. I talked to him about it on that day. So yeah, we would love to put Henry in something. Okay, so right there I want to stop and look at this because this is big. This is big for a reason. And the reason this is big is because we already know what happened to Jason Momoa, and maybe there's something similar going on here. Maybe they already know how they're going to implement him, and it could be something epic. So that's kind of a fun thing to think about, but we're going to look now at the 5 characters he could play. Now, I've kind of ranked this in no particular order, but I will save the biggest character for last. So you're going to want to stay tuned. Now, rather than cast Henry Cavill as someone who, might be someone you'd expect, Deathstroke might be a really good character for him to play. He could be playing this villainous character, which would be completely different from his Superman persona. And I personally think that casting him as Deathstroke would be a lot of fun. A lot of fans were speculating that he would be playing Ultraman, and that really didn't turn out to be true. However, that's not the end of that situation, because if you know, there's other ways to go about this. Just because he didn't play Ultraman in this movie doesn't mean he couldn't be playing Ultraman in a future movie. Or possibly Bizarro. Now, I like the idea of him playing Bizarro because that would be a lot of fun too. It would be like him under a little bit of makeup playing Bizarro, which in some cases is an alternate version of Superman from another dimension. And other times it is a clone of Superman. So either way, this would work to his advantage to come back and get to play Bizarro. And again, it would be an enemy character. However, I'm going to do something weird here. For our third choice, I think that he actually looks a lot like the comic book version of General Zod. And if you look at some of the comic book versions of General Zod, they have this quality that is very different. Of course, no one's going to top Terrence Stamp as General Zod in my book, but then again, if anybody's going to be able to do it, why not pick somebody who's about the same age, just slightly older than David Cornsweet is, and then you have this character who could be playing General Zod, and who could cause a lot of havoc for our boy Superman. Now, this one comes from a lot of people, and a lot of people think he could play Captain Atom. Now, I don't think this is a bad idea, because Captain Atom kind of fits this Superman-esque type of role. It's not Superman, but he is a very powerful character within the DC universe. And it might be exciting to see him play yet another powerful character in the DC universe. And then last, people, the big one, the absolute granddaddy of all casting choices for Henry Cavill. And I've seen this one floating around, but I've also kind of thought this myself. Wouldn't it be great if all of a sudden Henry Cavill was announced to be coming back as Bruce Wayne, as Batman himself? Wouldn't that be great? Because now you have an actor who is beloved by the fans, and he would be getting to do a take on one of the most popular characters in the DCU. So that would mean that he would garner a lot of respect. He'd garner a lot of viewership for it. Fans should be behind that idea, because here he is. He kind of looks a lot like Superman, but he also kind of looks a lot like Bruce Wayne, and I think he could pull this off really great. But that, my friends, are the choices for who he could play, and also that's kind of the reasons why I say he could be playing these roles. So whatever you guys are thinking, I want to hear from you in the comments below. And friends, make sure you're leaving me that comment and make sure you're sharing this video with all of your friends so they can be a part of this conversation as well. And then make sure you're hitting that like button. It's free. It helps the channel and I really appreciate it. Then also make sure that you are hitting that subscribe button. We need the subscribers. If you like this type of content, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe to our channel so we can give you all the positive fandom news that you love so much. And then go ahead and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video we do. And friends, at the end of the day, I know it and you know it, fandom is family.